You blinked, and boom, Newcastle are in the headlines all over the world again. But hold on, mate, because today's final story is absolutely unbelievable. It's got Alexander Isak, the Sweden national team, and a backstage scandal that's left everyone completely stunned. But don't worry, we'll get to that in a bit. Before we do, there are two massive updates about transfers and our players that you definitely need to hear about. I'm Rodrigo, and this is Newcastle Mania, the channel made by fans, for fans, who live and breathe Newcastle United. And hey, if you love this club as much as I do, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. It costs you nothing, helps the channel a ton, and keeps our black and white community growing stronger every single day. Right then, let's dive into the news. News 1, the deal that almost happened. To kick things off today, let's talk about a transfer that almost changed Newcastle's attack this summer, and I mean so close that it could have really happened. His name, Jørgen Strand Larsen, the Norwegian striker from Wolverhampton Wanderers, who came within touching distance of wearing black and white at St. James Park. Here's what went down. Newcastle made two huge offers, one worth £50 million and another at £55 million, trying to bring the player to Tyneside. But Wolves stood firm and sent a clear message back: he's not for sale. And Larsen himself confirmed it all in an interview with the Norwegian outlet Dagbladet. He revealed that Newcastle's interest was absolutely real, that both he and his agent were open to the move, but Wolverhampton shut it down quickly with a short and sharp message: close enough. So yeah, they admitted the deal was hot, but decided to stop it right there. Still, Larsen said he was flattered by the interest from the Magpies. He explained that he understood where he was in his career and that the plan from the start was to stay at Wolves for a few more years before thinking about the next step. And honestly, that makes sense. Last season, Larsen scored 14 goals in the Premier League, which caught the eye of plenty of clubs, not just Newcastle. He's young, strong, and clinical, exactly the kind of striker Eddie Howe loves. Remember, Newcastle were completely rebuilding their attack during the summer window. With Alexander Isak and Callum Wilson both heading out, the club needed two fresh forwards to reshape the front line. In the end, we secured Nick Woltemade and Yoane Wissa in a double deal worth over £124 million. Even with those signings, though, you can't help but imagine what it would have been like to see Strand Larsen in a black and white shirt. Picture him getting on the end of Gordon's crosses, linking up with Bruno Guimaraes, celebrating in front of the Gallowgate end. What a sight that would have been, right? In the end, the move didn't go through, but it left that classic what-if feeling in the air. What if Wolves had said yes? What if Newcastle had pushed just a little harder? It's another one of those almost deals that could have changed the direction of the club's story forever. A News 2, Woltemade and the strangest goal of the year. Right then, if you thought you'd seen everything in football, get ready, because this story is one of those you'll want to replay at least 10 times. Our German giant, Nick Woltemade, has done something no one saw coming. He scored one of the strangest goals of the entire season. And the best part? That goal secured 3 massive points for Germany in the World Cup qualifiers. It all happened in the match against Northern Ireland at the iconic Windsor Park. The play looked completely lost, the ball came in awkwardly, took a deflection, and, believe it or not, hit his shoulder and went in. Yes, you heard that right, a goal with the shoulder. Not a header, not a volley, not even a tap-in, the shoulder. Even the opposing manager, Michael O'Neill, who used to play for Newcastle, couldn't hide his surprise. After the game, he said it was a bizarre goal. And honestly, he's spot on. It was one of those goals that make you stare at the replay thinking, no way that actually went in. But what matters most is that it counted, and that freak goal gave Germany a 1-0 win. And for Woltemade, it was another huge step forward in his career. He'd already scored for Stuttgart, he's been shining in the black and white of Newcastle, and now he's making an impact for his country as well. That's 6 goals this season so far, 1 for Stuttgart, 4 for Newcastle, and now 1 for Germany. And here's the crazy part, he's scored in 4 straight games. That kind of consistency shows just how fast he's adapting and improving. After the match, Woltemade was honest as ever in his interview. He said, "It wasn't a good game, but we got the 3 points, and in the end, that's what matters." Simple, humble, and straight to the point, exactly the kind of attitude Newcastle fans are already falling in love with. He also mentioned that the team has been working a lot on set pieces and different attacking patterns, and even though the goal looked weird, it came from something they'd been training. And to top it off, Eddie Howe recently spoke about him too, saying he believes Waltermaid still has a lot more to show. Howe admitted that the striker hasn't been getting as many crosses or chances as he should, but even with that, he's still scoring for fun. And that says a lot, doesn't it? When a striker keeps scoring despite not getting loads of service, it means he's confident, alert, and showing real goal-scoring instinct. So for anyone who doubted that £69 million price tag, well, it's starting to look like money well spent. He might have scored the strangest goal of the year, but what really counts is the result. And at the end of the day, that's exactly the kind of player Newcastle needs, someone who can turn even a messy play into a match-winning moment. News 3. The main one, Isak and Elanga in total collapse with Sweden. Right then, this is it, the moment everyone's been waiting for. The biggest story of the day, the one that set Europe buzzing, and it involves two players Newcastle fans know very well. After all the drama from the last transfer window, when Alexander Isak forced his way out of Newcastle to join Liverpool in that record-breaking £130 million deal, the Swede is back in the headlines, but this time, for all the wrong reasons. Because right now, Sweden are falling apart. The national team have all but kissed their World Cup 2026 dreams goodbye, and the atmosphere in camp is toxic. Tension, frustration, and angry outbursts are everywhere. During their latest defeat, a 1-0 loss to Kosovo, Newcastle's own Anthony Elanga completely lost his cool. As soon as the final whistle blew, Swedish reporters caught him shouting in the tunnel, "This bloody system has to end." That line exploded all over the Swedish media, splashed across every sports headline in the country. The reaction was so strong that even manager John Dahl Tomasson had to address it in his press conference, claiming he didn't hear what Anthony said. But let's be honest, everyone heard it, and the damage was done. And it's easy to understand why Elanga's so angry. Tomasson's been stubbornly sticking to a 3-5-2 formation, trying to fit Isak and Viktor Gyökeres, worth over £190 million combined, into the same front line. But it's just not working. Sweden haven't scored in their last 3 games, and their performances have been dreadful. To make things worse, Isak's own form has dropped off a cliff. Since leaving Newcastle, he hasn't found his rhythm again, not at Liverpool, where his start's been shaky, and not with Sweden, where the press are already tearing into him. With him on the pitch, Sweden have lost every single match recently, and Isak himself hasn't scored once. After that latest defeat to Kosovo, Isak gave a brutally honest interview to Fotbollskanalen, and his words went viral. "It's horrible. Embarrassing. We playing terribly. There's been no progress at all. Nobody's performing, not us, not the manager." It was a raw, emotional outburst, almost like a cry for help. He even admitted that the whole squad is unhappy and needs to look in the mirror. You could really feel the frustration behind every word. But what's got Newcastle fans talking isn't just Sweden's collapse, it's karma. Because many supporters still remember how Isak forced his move to Liverpool, even refusing to train until the transfer went through. So now, seeing him struggle like this, a lot of fans are calling it football karma, that feeling that when you leave the wrong way, football always finds a way to make you pay. Meanwhile, Elanga, who's also part of that same Sweden squad, seems to be handling things very differently. Yes, he's frustrated, but is staying focused, professional, and fully committed to Newcastle. Sources close to the club say he's come back to England determined to use this disappointment as motivation, ready to prove himself in the Premier League and show what he couldn't with the national team. And what about the relationship between Isak and Elanga? According to Swedish outlets, it's tense. They still respect each other, but the dressing room is said to be divided, and even Tomasson's job is hanging by a thread ahead of the next round of qualifiers. So yeah, the whole situation in Sweden is a ticking time bomb. From a Newcastle perspective, though, it's a bit bittersweet. On one hand, seeing Isak's downfall after that messy exit. On the other, watching Elanga rise and prove his worth week after week. At the end of the day, football moves fast. 1 minute you're forcing your way to a bigger club, and the next, everything's falling apart, while the lads you left behind are flying high. And that's why this is, without a doubt, the hottest story of the day. So, Toon Army, what do you make of this whole mess with Isak and Elanga? Do you think our former striker's paying the price for the way he left? Let me know down below in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you love Newcastle as much as we do, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and join our black and white family, because here, the passion never stops. I'm Rodrigo, and this is Newcastle Mania, the home of every true Magpie fan. See you in the next one. Hoey the lads.